everyone, Gaijin! You better not be sleeping on the job again. Oh, dude, are you okay?
Oh, hey dude, what's up?
You gonna make it?
No, it's just been a head been a head cold for a couple of days. I just gotta rest up. Man, it's weirdly serendipitous that Helix has been sponsoring us for such a long period of time. I didn't realize how much better rest I get with something that, is actually built for me.
Well, you relax, dude. I can handle the rest.
Alright, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Man, I'm glad he's taking it easy. Then, yeah, having a bed specifically made for you would help you get better sick rest. Any of you need a new bed? Something built to what you specifically need? Well, hop on over to our link in the description and take the Helix sleep test. It covers everything from what position you sleep in, to if you sleep hot or cold, to how firm or soft you prefer. It's surprisingly dense for only taking about 30 seconds to do. And after you get your suggested mattress match, you'll get it shipped right to your front door, with free shipping to folks in the US, by the way, in a box less than 5 feet tall and 2 feet wide. You can absolutely carry this thing. From there, just pop it open in the room where you want to set it up, unroll it, cut the seal, and watch it poof up all its own and enjoy. No more lugging around a bulky mattress from the store to your home. And if you don't like it for whatever reason, absolutely no worries, man. Each mattress has a 100-night sleep schedule to make sure you love what you got, and each mattress has a 10-year warranty too. And even if you can't afford a full mattress right now but want that Helix level of relief, they got all kinds of mattress toppers to help you get the support you need to get better rest. So if you want to have a look at this for yourself, again, pop on over to the link in our description because Helix is having their 4th of July sale, baby! That means 27% off the entire store. So whether it's a mattress, a topper, or anything else you're looking for, they got you covered. Alright, with all that out of the way, let me set this up here. Alright. Okay, let's talk about Psylocke. No, not that one. This one. From the great Overwatch killer with a big thirst for buns and thighs. And yeah, gang, I know a lot of you want me to talk comprehensively about Psylocke, but that opens up the can of worms of which one? Do you have any idea how long it would take me to dig through every iteration of this gal from every generation, spin-off, movie, TV show, and just... Some of you might be saying, well, just talk about Betsy Braddock or... Quanon? That kind of name is that? Yeah, sure, I could do that, but then I gotta talk about the asinine decisions Claremont made with the character, with that whole stupid body swap retcon and the, Yeah, no, I'm not touching that landmine with a 100-foot pole. Side note, this isn't even a Japanese name. This is the name of an ever-giving Buddhist deity of peace and kindness, not a skin-tight psychic ninja cosplayer. Oh yeah, gang, we're going there, because Psylocke, or Psy this iteration is called, as admittedly cool as she is not a ninja. Not even close. It's basically like if Jean Grey decided she wanted to just cosplay as a ninja for the aesthetic of her superhero outfit. The comics and the game may say she's a ninja, but no. Even Bossman said so before he got laid up sick. At this point, I'm well aware there are a handful of angry fans in the audience right now, so let me drop a couple of caveats. 1. Psy is a very cool looking character. Heck, a lot more cooler than her 90s counterpart. There is absolutely nothing inherently bad about her concept design. 2. Psy is extremely fun to play. While getting B-roll footage, I discovered that despite being a high-skill character, she's a lot of fun, and even someone fresh-faced to the game like me can do a lot with her kit. Also, yes, I am fighting against bots because I don't care about being a sweaty player with this game. So don't mistake the fact that we're calling her a cosplay ninja a slam against her as a whole. Based on this iteration of Psylocke, yeah, it just makes me think that Betsy, Quanon, Psy, or whoever had these amazing psychic powers and just decided to lean to the aesthetics of a ninja rather than being an actual good one. But why? Why bring the hammer down on Psy when we've let so many other pop ninjas sneak past? Nope, pun intended. Well, let's start with the basics. Let me first start off in saying that, again, this isn't an inherently bad design. It's neat. It's also one of the few characters that isn't completely horny on main, which is kind of ironic considering so much of her character kind of depended on it, and the changes that were supposedly made revolved a lot more around sex appeal. But this has just the right touch. And not only that, but aside from the alternative tabby she's got on, she's wearing a sarashi. something that's really never been talked about in the show yet. So, you know how in Japan period games, movies, animes, and the like, there's a lot of gals wearing those wraps around their chest? Well, those are sarashi, or loosely translated, bleached cloth. It's fabric binding in a world where bras didn't exist yet, and there is, in fact, tons of different styles using sarashi. The problem though, those things, though historically accurate, don't necessarily make her a ninja. Yes, everyone, I can hear you screaming she's wearing blue, but tell me how much skin she's showing off, and then I'll ask you to what extent the blue is gonna make her hard to see. With so many sections of her body, and especially her face and purple hair out in the open, this outfit does nothing to keep her stealth. Also, that freaking red scarf, man. I still see this thing in Pop Media Ninja today, and it's just a misinterpretation of the Zuki. Which, yeah, was a super long piece of cloth that Ninja would wear, but it was worn as a mask that had secondary utility purposes, and also matched the camouflage coloring of the whole Shozoku, not blisteringly bright red. So, I'm sorry gang, this looks cool, but this outfit really does belong in the Ninja D Bang Bang music video. Now, obviously, Ninja could never psionically manifest weapons, but did they ever use micro or even hand crossbows? Well, no, not really, and neither did the majority of Japan for that matter. Now, that wasn't to say that there weren't any shudo, which were Japan's variations of handheld crossbows. They were kinda used for a time thanks to the technological connections and trade with China in the early 200 to 300 CE, but with the countrywide popularity of samurai and the way that samurai fought, crossbows just really didn't have any large spanning place in Japanese warfare. Compared to traditional Yumi bows, crossbows couldn't be reloaded on horseback. You know, that one thing that defined samurai for generations. I mean, Japanese fighting didn't even become rank and file until the Mongol invasions of the 1800s. The weapon was also just straight up cumbersome, and it took a lot of effort to reload, so it just didn't really gel in Japan. Not to mention, they were also really hard for folks in Japan to make. Yeah, I've heard records of some samurai from the Muromachi to even early Edo periods owning crossbows, but they're incredibly rare with only a few mentions from actual historical documents. And based on what I read, Japan just didn't have a ton of what was needed to make crossbows in bulk. Horns, bone, and sinew were at the very least what was needed to make crossbows that had decent armor penetration, but steel, that was the majority component that Japan lacked in abundance. I mean, we got Tamahagane steel, but compared to Crucible steel, it's just not that great. And if Japan didn't have enough steel to give every Ashigaru a metal spear or at least a tachi, how in the world would they have enough to give all of them a crossbow? Now, would ninjas use wrist-mounted crossbows if they had them in ready availability? I honestly think so, considering they already had miniaturized blades and even miniaturized firearms for that matter. But the fact is, Japan just never picked up on the idea of a crossbow. By the time they would have, they already had their hands on gunpowder tech, which was infinitely better. Not to mention, even if Japan had miniaturized crossbows, ninja weren't exactly rolling in yo, so to speak, so for a people that relied heavily on what they could forge or forage, I think that something like a wrist-mounted crossbow wouldn't be all that practical. Plus, the way that Sai uses it, it functions like a freaking shotgun, requiring her to be really close to her target. You know, a place that a ninja never wanted to be. But for all my negativity, I will say this. While on the surface it seems stupid that Sai uses a mudra to effectively reload her Sai crossbow, if her weapon really does come from her mind, then I can give this a pass because the whole point behind mudras, like the Kuji-in, was to steady one's mind. If a ninja was stressed or needed to regain focus, this was the mudra used to stabilize their mental state. A mental reloading, if you will. Although I have to temper that statement with the fact that she does constantly do that two-pointed fingers thing that I see a lot of Pop Media shinobi do, which, the only time ninja do that is when they're symbolically cutting mudras with their fingers representing a sword. This is not some kind of default stance. I mean, ninja used shuriken, right? Well, sure, but they didn't freaking shotgun them at their enemies at point-blank range. See, the honest-to-goodness truth about shuriken is that they weren't a shinobi-exclusive weapon. In fact, shuriken jutsu, as the name implies, was its own kind of weapon training that was typically undertaken by samurai more than anyone. Remember, ninjutsu is not a martial art. It's a skill set of overt and covert subtle operations. Plus, for samurai families that had the money and could afford multiple shuriken made of metal that they could just throw away at an enemy and forget, as previously stated, ninja didn't have a lot of money kicking around. So the idea of having an expendable metal tool wasn't exactly practical for shinobi. Not to mention carrying around pointy metal discs could give way to poking accidents and even weigh the ninja down trying to do their acrobatics in or out of a location sneakily. So yeah, it's a yes but no kind of situation with Psy and her psychic shuriken. And again, no one buckshotted them like this in Japan. I mean, look, I get it. This is a mechanics thing to make Psylocke's kit usable as a diver and flanker in combat. But man, ninja wish they could get a mid-air dash like Psylocke or Genji. And yeah, the concept of a ninja being so dexterous that they could move extremely fast in a straight line, dealing a blow to an opponent while continuing to move forward, does make sense for a shinobi. I mean, if you have to fight, you'd want to get a shot in and run away. You know, actual ninja tactics. But no ninja, from my understanding, is going to want to melee someone and then run away instead of like chucking a rock, shuriken, or metsubushi, or even a bomb from a distance and get a head start getting away. Honestly, how cool would it have been if Psylocke manifested a psychic Horokuhiya just to lob at the middle of an enemy team? That'd be freaking boss. But no, from a mechanic standpoint, this move makes sense, but from a historical one, not so much. You know, while we're on the topic of the Psy Blade Dash, Psy has those butterfly wings coming out every once in a while, and I think this is a uniform thing with every version of Psylocke there is. And as far as the game goes, it happens during her dash, during her ult, during her MVP screen, so I figured, let's see if there's anything Shinobi adjacent with that. And no, sorry gang, there's nothing ninja, but I do think the motif with butterflies works with Psylocke as a character really, really well. Cause see, in Japan, butterflies have an ongoing cultural theme of change and rebirth, something that Psylocke as a Marvel character has done so many times in the canon of her character. They're also symbols of love and weddings, which I don't think Psy ever got married. I think she got engaged once, but I can promise you there were more than a few nerds back in the day that were absolutely in love with her. But finally, purple butterflies specifically have a unique representation in Japan of mysterious powers and spiritual growth. The earlier something that Psylocke has in spades is someone who can psychically manifest weapons and the like. I mean, psychic powers themselves are pretty freaking mysterious. While the latter is something I believe Psylocke as a character has gone through many times in her reimagined canon, with Betsy and Quenon, God, I hate that name, growing into two different people. Makes me kind of wonder where the whole butterfly motif for her in the Japanese reimagined comics came from. Oh. Oh no! Oh no! What? What does being psychic have to do with being invisible or a ninja? Susan Storm can turn invisible. Is she psychic? Or a ninja? Whatever. It's just a means to the mechanical ends, and yeah, I get it. We're limited to the mechanics that we have in-game. And Ninja never had some kind of mystical ability to turn invisible. Anyway. Sure, I guess this gets a pass because being sneaky is hard to do in a cramply designed game like this without outright invisibility. Something, the art of invisibility, let's move on. Alright folks, I gotta draw the line right here, because the argument we have here is the same argument we had for Genji. Firstly, no ninja win on an E-mean sneaking mission with a weapon that colossal on their back. It's heavy. It would weigh down a ninja's ability to be mobile, and it would be extremely hard to use in tight spaces like buildings. You know, those things that ninja periodically sneak into. And I don't care what you say, the freaking thing is impossible to easily draw or sheath. Every time I've seen this thing drawn or sheathed in an anime or a game or something like that, the sword is already halfway through the saya before there's any motion. Do not fall for no dachi propaganda. Also, a blade this big made of this much metal would be really expensive, and again, most ninja weren't exactly swimming in ryo. Finally, carrying a sword this big on your back would make you look really conspicuous, cause there weren't a lot of samurai that would often wield nodachi or odachi for the above listed reasons. Really big swords are cool, do not get me wrong, but outside of direct, open combat, you know, the thing that ninja try to stay away from, it was way more of a hindrance than a help. And weapon aside, do I really need to go into the physical impossibilities of ninja teleporting from target to target in the blink of an eye, slashing each one back and forth? I mean, yeah, the Shunshin no Jutsu was a thing, but that was a trick of the senses to make an opponent think you were teleporting, not that you actually were. Finally, the most important aspect of this Psy version of Psylocke is that she's not a ninja because she was never designed to be. See, Psy came from an alternate universe of Marvel created by Peach Momoko called Demon Days X-Men. In it, yeah, she's not a ninja, she's a Ronin. She even says so herself. She has no qualms with identifying herself by her real name, she doesn't perform any ninjutsu, whether it be Inin or Yonin, and she's a very effective combative swordswoman with Psy-generated weapons. She goes from place to place openly selling her skills for money and a place to sleep. That's not ninja, that's Ronin. So, well, yeah, even I'm kinda disappointed that this Psy version of Psylocke doesn't really have a true inspiration of ninja to her design, either visually or mechanically. She's still designed in a really interesting way that makes her look supremely cool and distinct compared to the other rival gals. And her kit is also super fun to play. Good ninja? Not at all. Fun character? Absolutely. In fact, I've taken to Psy so much during the course of this video that, yes, I absolutely want to do a video on Demon Days X-Men. I just need to get access to the entire series first to give it a proper going over. But it looks really cool. And while some of the inspirations might be a bit goofy, I still find it incredibly interesting. So I leave it into the hands of my patrons whether or not that will be the next thing that we talk about. Cause as I keep saying and sternly mean with every single time I say it, if we did not have you guys at Patreon taking care of us, making sure we could pay bills, buy food, and keep doing what we're doing, well, we wouldn't be able to do it. You are the lifeblood of our work, and we are always grateful to you. And if you want to be a part of that process, be sure to check out our Patreon. And if you're aching for a better night's rest, remember, check out our link in the description, take that Helix sleep test, and get a mattress that's made for you. And thanks again for continuing to sponsor us, Helix. Finally, if you want to learn more about Japan through your favorite games, anime, movies, and more, sub up, get notified, and until next time, everyone, this is Gaijin Goombah, signing out.